Hey everybody, Dr. Diane here, and in this video, we're going to talk about mindset and business mastery. Now, mindset is pivotal in business. Why? Because we need to have the motivation to keep going when things get hard, and that comes down to our mindset. Now, there's a lot of things you can read and you can watch out there about having motivation, about waking up and doing affirmations and this perfect morning routine, and I'm going to tell you something very different in this video. While it's good to go into your day forming beliefs in your capacity to make money and have success and have clients and customers super easily, while that's good, it's only half the picture. Very frequently, people are missing the other half. And the other half really goes into some of Carl Jung's work, the psychologist. Carl Jung's work, he talks a lot about the shadow side, the dark side, the things that we don't talk about, but a lot of us have as humans. For example, part of scarcity mentality for me comes into really liking the challenge and honestly being kind of obsessed with the challenge of being able to prove that I can build myself and grow myself out of nothing. Now, while I've built a 7-figure business and a 6-figure business, part of the mindset with that is actually acknowledging not just the parts of myself that are successful, but the parts of myself that are actually a little bit addicted to the challenge, a little bit addicted to what I grew up with, which is penny pinching to make sure the bills are met and running a super tight budget. And while I like not doing that, on some sort of deep subconscious level, I do enjoy the scarcity, the having to run my life on this really strict budget and that sort of thing. And so one of the missing links that often comes when we're really getting into mastering business mindset is actually acknowledging that shadow side. And Carl Jung talks about that so well in his work and his archetypes. And so the shadow side is actually looking and seeing where we have envy and where we have grief and where we have guilt and where we have shame. And instead of pretending like these things don't exist, instead of pretending like every cell in our body wants to be super successful, actually going in and asking yourself these hard questions of what part of yourself is actually gets turned on in some sort of weird, almost kinky way, with some part of yourself actually gets turned on by scarcity, by your business not growing, by failing. Right? Because usually if we look at those things and realize crap, if I fail, my friends have failed, I'm more easily connecting and can share and commiserate with them, and that brings me closer to them. So there's this subconscious desire in this example to actually fail. So it's not to say we want to spend a lot of time on these thoughts, right? Because we do want to spend more time on the success thoughts. So a lot of business mastery from a mindset perspective is really, really formulating our neural pathways so that we are more oriented towards success. But if we don't first take a second to clean up the trash in our body and in our mind, this won't exist. And that's what doing the shadow work is. That's what actually acknowledging these sorts of kinks that we have. And one of my favorite books beyond Carl Jung's work that goes over this is this book called Existential Kink. And this book you see here is a really amazing book for giving triggers and prompts to actually ask ourselves questions from a mindset perspective around what sort of things from a shadow perspective in our mind might we be hiding or shaming or not looking at that in some way does turn us on, in some way provides something and drives behavior, just not the behavior we ultimately want. So we want to make sure that we are really analyzing and being honest and taking some time to say, is there a part of me that actually gets off in some way around scarcity, around not having success in business, around working really hard, around hitting the pavement? Is there some part of me that actually enjoys resisting doing the marketing work and really enjoys just pushing off that deadline, and I get off on waiting till the last minute, right? The more we can acknowledge those parts of ourselves, the more they don't have control over us, because we're not shaming ourselves for them. We're just realizing that these are human responses. And a lot of us all of us have different variations of this, different stories that are related to this. So the more we can actually do that work to actually find these types of stories and bring them into light, the more they don't have power over us. So when we do that, and when we do that work, we want to spend some time really understanding our shadow side, and then we want to spend time really bringing more, say, awareness to the lighter sides of things we want to believe. So part of the mindset of mastery is repetition. One of my favorite meditative teachers is Dr. Joe Dispenza, and Dr. Joe talks about, he uses the phrase nerves that fire together, wire together, and it's a great phrase for realizing that repetition is really important for neurology, right? So we ride a bike so many times, we ride a bike without even thinking about it, for example. Same thing with thoughts. If we think the same thought over and over and over and over again, what winds up happening is our neurology is more triggered to go down that pathway of thinking that thought. So you think the thought of like, clients easily come to me with such amazing success and such amazing ease, and you say that over and over, and you feel how that feels inside of your body when you say that. You want to feel the feelings and not just think the thoughts. When you do that, that strengthens neurology. And to add a layer to that, you also want to do the shadow work to look at what parts of you are actually holding on to a different side of the belief, and not shaming those parts of yourself, not making those parts of yourself bad, because again, this is human, right? These are the things that we are just not talking about enough as humans, the parts of ourselves that are shame, that are bad, and all these things, but they're really human. And the more we can say that, oh yeah, we do have this part of ourselves that maybe gets off on, on scarcity on some small level because of the way it helps us connect with others, because we're addicted to the struggle, because on some level we like feeling like we're a survivor and we can make it through any sort of situation, right? Whatever it is, right? So the more we acknowledge those parts of ourselves, the more we don't shame them, the more we can actually integrate them, and they don't start running this subconscious story that's blocking the feeling that we want to have. So a lot of this is really looking at, okay, well, what do you want to train your brain? What thoughts, what feelings do you want to train your brain to have? Make sure you practice having those thoughts and practice closing your eyes and have that internal, see if you can self-generate, pretend, fake it till you make it, that feeling that goes and matches with that thought, and do that every day. And then look out for any subconscious, like say kink, subconscious triggers that are more in the shadow on the opposite side of the spectrum. See them, acknowledge them, don't make them wrong. Just say, oh, okay, I have a kink here. How interesting. It's not wrong to do that. And subconscious, I see that and I'm going to choose this other way because I think that's better. And when we do that, we are basically not wronging ourselves. We're not going to make that energy go to those places over and over. And this is how we really train our brain to have the mindset to continue to focus on the growth of our business and the success of our lives. So if you want more information like this, please do subscribe to the channel. Again, I'm Dr. Diane. See you next time.